What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, looking at a new card from the Dark Illusion, and we finally have our level 12 synchro for Blackwings, the thing that it has all been culminating to, and boy oh boy is it a absolute disappointment. This is Assault Blackwing, Onimaru the Divine Swell, and it's just not nearly as good as it needs to be for a level 12. Like, there aren't that many level 12 synchros in Yu-Gi-Oh! In fact, the only two I can think of off the top of my head, I feel like there's four. The only two I can think of off the top of my head are Quasar and TG Halberd Cannon, or Halberd Cannon. And this one obviously is being thrown into the mix, and it's not as good. Like, the standard is, to me, Quasar, and this card is just not as good as Quasar. Despite the fact that it's generic, and you don't need any type of special summoning conditions to summon it, like, two of the effects are directly tied to the archetype Blackwings, which is kind of weird. Now, for those of you who have been wondering, why has Konami been pushing Blackwings? Like, why for the last year have we been getting all these random Blackwings? It's because Crow is back in the TV show. Like, Crow from 5Ds, he's been introduced back into the Yu-Gi-Oh anime and manga. He's in Arc V. He's actually a major character in the TV show, and you know, a lot of people like him, I guess. The new cards that they've given him over the last year don't necessarily give him, like, they don't do him justice. And I don't know, they tried to build this weird thing around, you know, a whole bunch of monsters randomly making themselves tuners so that he could, like, synchro 2 and 3 times in the duel. That's how he ended up being Shun, which was still kind of utter bullshit because Blackwings can't hold a fucking candle to Raid Raptors. But let's go ahead and talk about this card so you guys can all facepalm like I did when I read it. All right, so it's a level 12. It's Dark Winged Beast because of Blackwing. 3,000 attack, 2,000 defense. I'm actually okay with the stats because even though things like Quasar are, you know, like 4,000 attack, I'm like, okay, well, it can have an effect to make up for the fact that, like, a Dart Destroyer can just ram into it and then it will die. All right. It requires 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. I saw that and I was like, okay, that's cool because now I can make it in decks outside of Blackwings. There are lots of times where I'm like, yo, I wish that there was a level 12 synchro that I could make using conventional means, but there just isn't. And this is finally that level 12 synchro that you can make just in pretty much any deck. And also anything that can make Quasar can also make this card. The 3 effect of Assault Blackwing Onimaru, the Divine Swell, can only be used once per duel. Saw that and I was like, okay, it must be something ridiculous. Like, it must be like, you know, it can attack 3 times or something like that. Some like Quasar type shit. No, prepare to be disappointed again. Effect number 1, if this card is synchro summoned using a Blackwing monster as material, it is treated as a tuner monster while face up on the field. Why the fuck would you want a level 12, which is the pinnacle, the peak of levels and monsters? Why would you want that to be treated as a tuner? Konami is really pushing this angle of making Blackwing synchro monsters and making high level monsters tuners. I thought it was all to summon this guy, but I don't really understand why this card would ever need to be treated as a tuner, unless they're going to somehow make a fucking, like, level 14 or some shit like that, which I don't even think is possible. It'd be the first, you know, monster over to level 12. But why would I want this monster ever to be treated as a tuner? You're going to see in a second, and it's not going to make a lot of sense, to be honest. Effect number 2, this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. Okay, that I'm on board with. They've been building that shit into a whole bunch of new things. You know, the entire Magispector archetype. Some of the Lunar Lights have that built into them. Some of their, like, more powerful ones. So I'm okay, I'm kind of fine with that. Like, Ultimate Falcon, you know, a lot of these newer cards can't be affected by anything. This guy just can't be destroyed by card effects. But you can still, like, Rippling Mirror Force and make your opponent cry. Effect number 3, you can target, and this is the once per duel effect. You can target 1 Blackwing monster in your graveyard. This card's level becomes the same as that target's. So essentially it's just Trigodia, right? Doesn't Trigodia copy a monster that's in the graveyard? Okay, so this card does that. So essentially you can take your Onimaru and you can make his level really low, and then you can synchro into something that's considerably worse than this card. I don't understand why you'd ever want to do that. Like, if Konami can explain why you'd want to do that, I'm all ears. And don't get me wrong, I'm like 10 episodes behind on the show. As soon as I'm done watching Nikki, I've got like 3 episodes on that. I'm going to watch more Arc V, catch up, and see maybe if he used that to, like, some broken result. But I just don't understand why you'd ever want to use Effect 3, like, at all. Or why you'd ever want to make this guy a tuner. That doesn't make any sense. Effect 4. If this card was synchro summoned using only synchro monsters as the synchro materials, if this card attacks during the damage step, this card gains 3,000 attack. So if you make this using the Quasar method, like let's say you're playing Fables or some shit like that, or Junk Synchron, you know how they'll go 2 5s and a Formula Synchron as their 2. Okay, well then this guy, he gets 3,000. He becomes 6,000 attack during essentially the damage step. That's not bad. The problem is he should have gotten this effect like regardless. The second he got normal summon, or the second he got synchro summon, he should have already got this effect to make up for the fact that the card is generally weak and has 2 effects that are kind of fucking useless, and they're tied directly to Blackwings. Overall, I would say this card is a major disappointment. I like the fact that you can summon it a lot easier than things like Quasar, but it can't hold a candle to Quasar. Quasar can like negate every single turn, and Quasar gets, additional attack. Like this card's not even as good as something like Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon is far better than this. I don't know. I think like over the last year, Konami has definitely released some good Blackwings. They've released Rakiri, they've released Chris, Pinaka's really good too. But I would say over half of the support is just serious. I was like toilet paper, man. And I think this card is a secret rare too, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a secret rare in the TCG because it is the level 12 Blackwing that we've been waiting for a very long time. I don't know. I'm hoping that with Raid Raptors, their rank 12 is going to be like much better than this card. I mean, their rank 10 is already better than this card, so I would imagine that the rank 12 has to be better too. So let me know what you guys think. I'm sorry to sound negative, guys. I used to love Blackwing's, one of my favorite archetypes of all time. It's the deck that got me my first regional top 8. It has this very special place in my heart, but this does not do the archetype justice. Rakiri is way more practical and just better than this card. Like, at least when you summon Rakiri, you can blow shit up and just push for damage. This card is just like such a colossal waste of time. Thank you guys for watching as always.